Nathan Zegura with another playoff edition of the 2-Minute Drill, brought to you by University Hospitals. Today we're going to take a look at the offense of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And as you might imagine, that offense starts and stops with Big Ben Roethlisberger. But before we get into the two-time Super Bowl winning quarterback of the Steelers, let's look at where they rank overall. The Steelers this year, the 25th total offense, but the 12th best scoring offense. So they were able to convert their opportunities into touchdowns, and a lot of that probably had to do with short fields created by their excellent defense. Now, when we get into rushing and passing, rushing, the Steelers, the 32nd ranked. That's right, the league's worst rushing team in the NFL. But as far as being a passing team, right in the middle, 15th. But Ben Roethlisberger this year, incredibly solid, 3,804 yards. He also threw for 33 touchdowns with only 10 interceptions and had a quarterback rating of 94.1. Now, part of the reason Roethlisberger was able to be so efficient and comfortable this year is that great offensive line of the Steelers, anchored by two Pro Bowlers in the middle, center Marquise Pouncey and guard David DeCastro. Also have a great left tackle in Alejandro Villanueva. Now, they've allowed just 14 sacks on the season. That's the fewest in the NFL. So Roethlisberger has time to throw, and he's got a great bevy of weapons to throw the football to. The Steelers had 3 different wide receivers this year with more than 800 yards receiving and 7 touchdowns on the season. Rookie Chase Claypool, 62 catches, 873 yards, and 9 touchdowns. He also ran in 2 touchdowns, so 11 total touchdowns for the big rookie out of Notre Dame. He went over 100 yards with a score in Week 17 against our Browns. Juju Smith-Schuster led the team with 97 catches. He had 831 yards and 9 touchdowns of his own. And then there's Diontae Johnson, the team's leading receiver in terms of yardage, with 924 yards and 7 touchdowns on 88 catches. Now, in addition to that trio, James Washington scored 5 touchdowns at wide receiver, including 1 against the Browns in their first meeting. And tight end Eric Ebron had 550 yards and 5 scores of his own. So the Browns' pass defense is going to have to be at its best against this excellent passing attack of the Steelers. A lot of quick hitters with Ben Roethlisberger under center. He's been getting the ball out quick, letting the receivers make plays after the catch. But in this earlier game against the Browns, more than half of his yards came on vertical passes. And we saw the vertical pass get the Browns in Week 17 as well. So something to keep an eye on there. We mentioned the running game, pretty much non-existent so far for the Steelers this year. James Conner, the team's leading rusher, 720 yards and 6 touchdowns on 169 carries. He averaged 4.3. But the team did not really involve their running backs in the passing game. Not a single receiving touchdown for the Steelers running backs this year, and Conner led them with just 215 yards receiving. So this game, when you look at it, the worst rushing offense in the NFL. They are going to run at times, and back in the first meeting, Conner had one of his best games of the season, rushing for over 100 yards. The Browns need to stop that ground game, eliminate it completely. You're going to have to play good coverage in the secondary, and you're going to have to tackle on these short, quick hitters to Diontae Johnson and Juju Smith-Schuster, but also make sure you don't let them go over the top like they did. The big plays to Johnson, the big plays to Chase Claypool, James Washington earlier in the season. They are a tough team to deal with because, as I said, they're so good up front. They do not allow sacks. They got 2 Pro Bowlers on that line, and Ben Roethlisberger, he is playoff tested. The Browns are going to have to get after it and make up for the loss of Olivier Vernon, which could not have come at a worse time. As always, for all things Browns and everything you need to know about this huge playoff game, keep it tuned to cleanbrowns.com and the Browns mobile app. This has been another playoff edition of the 2-Minute Drill, brought to you by University Hospitals.